Friday, everybody. Welcome back once again. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox. We're going live from Brooklyn. We're doing things a little different these days. We're in the Zoom stratosphere. Everybody in the world seems to be on Zoom, so why not? We said, fuck it, let's do it too. Before I introduce my guest this week, I'm going to give you the message of the week, which actually comes from my guest. This is from a Twitter post of hers earlier in the week, and it really moved me and really just encapsulates what I think a lot of us are feeling right now. Here it goes. My priority right now is my job because it's funding my life and my dreams. It's also teaching me how to run a successful international business digitally. All my spare time and weekends are devoted to content creation and the side hustle. Yeah. With that, I'd like to introduce hustler Olivia Rachel. Olivia, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Awesome. Nice to actually meet you. So this whole show today is a little different. I'm bringing on some people, some connections I made through Twitter that I've actually never met. Olivia is coming to us from Canada via Los Angeles, correct?
Yes. Yep. I'm originally from Canada, but now I'm in California.
Yeah, you're in LA. And later on in the show, like I said, we're doing things a little differently. I'm going to have another guest on the second two portions, and it's another video guy from Columbus, Ohio, who I also met through Twitter. And we've never met, but we're about to get it on right now. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's been a crazy week, but I'm still feeling energized. So.
Just a crazy week, not a crazy month.
Oh my gosh, right? I take it week by week. Yeah, true. Yeah. Crazy month.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can you kind of describe this scene? You're in Los Angeles, correct?
Yep.
What's it like there right now? I've talked a lot recently about Brooklyn, and I think everybody is kind of aware nationally what's happening in New York City in terms of daily life and what's going on. How can you describe just briefly? I don't want to spend too much time on it because I think the news is doing enough of it. What's it like for you in LA right now?
Honestly, I think it was a slow start here. Like people just weren't really taking it seriously. But now when I do go out, which is not often, I think people are like taking all precautions. So yeah, it's kind of, it's kind of intense.
And what's the business situation like there? I mean, here they shut down almost everything. I mean, I'd say like 80% of businesses are closed here. Is it the same there? Like, can you go to a restaurant and sit down at all?
No, it's the same here. Yeah, just essential businesses. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. And you pretty much recently moved to Los Angeles, right? For the job that you're currently doing?
Yes. I was in Michigan before this.
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually did live in California the year prior to that. And then I moved back to Michigan and then I came back to California. But it's been crazy. This was like my dream job. So it's just insane how that happened. And I posted a lot about it on Twitter.
Yeah, well, that's how I kind of like started following you as you were going across country. And that was what really captivated me first. You were like, I'm here today. Now I'm here. This is what's happening here.
It all happened in one day, too. I was like, oh, I guess I'm moving to California. Okay. And I decided it was that day that I just packed up and left.
That's so fantastic. And your career so far has pretty much been in TV and video production, correct?
Yes, I worked in mainstream television and film in Toronto. I was part of the Directors Guild of Canada, and then I transitioned to digital media. My interest kind of shifted a little bit, and I just love digital media. So made that transition, and then found this job opportunity. Just kept applying, kept hustling, and here we are.
Can you describe for a moment the differences between your experiences with television and digital and why you like digital more?
Honestly, it's the lifestyle. Film is tough. I mean, you're working, people say it's a lifestyle, not a job. It really is. Right. You're working minimum 12-hour days, sometimes 16 hours. I mean, when you see these actors behind the scenes, you're just like, man, they live out of trailers pretty much. You just really, I don't know. It's a tough lifestyle. You kind of have to go all in. Whereas with digital media, I feel like it's more flexible. It just kind of aligns with my own lifestyle. And the thing is, I spend way more time consuming digital media and social media over film and television. So really, It's just a personal personal preference.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what are some of the things that you enjoy that are conducive to, say, your lifestyle or just life in general, that you experience in digital that just you find are pros over the television film lifestyle?
I like watching content and like people's real life. I feel like people are media. I mean, not all, but, I'm more interested in like a real person's life versus a character in a movie or a TV show. I don't know. I'm just like so fascinated by people. So yeah, that kind of draws me to the digital world. Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of being real. You're just more interested in the real world application.
I'm like curious about how. Right. Like I'm curious about how people think and why they do what they do and how they get to where they are, you know, more so than like a movie, I guess. I still like.
I didn't catch that last thing. It broke up just a little bit, but.
I said I still like movies and TV shows, but just, I found myself consuming more, real content, I guess.
And that's something you put a lot of time into yourself, correct? In terms of especially when you were traveling across country, you were pretty active in terms of just like rogue video production and just kind of like mapping your journey along the way in video form. Right.
Which is hard for me to do. I don't know. I went to film school and then I worked in film. So like I get way too, worked up over the production values.
Yeah.
That kind of forced me to be like, listen, like people don't care about that. It's, you can have perfect production value if you're,
Yeah.
I'm trying to focus more on like content I'm sharing,
Yeah, no, I understand. I've never studied any kind of film or video application. I was kind of thrust into it once I started this show, which was less than a year ago. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist too. My background was in music, and I was a performer and a freelancer for a long time. So I've always brought that into whatever I did, and always wanted like the performance, like you were just talking about with film and television. Like I totally understand that because you're here to give a performance, and a buddy of mine, he's a New York film guy, and he kind of pulled me aside when this all started. He was like, don't worry about all that shit. He's like, just get an iPhone, get an iPhone and a good mic and then just go, man. He's like, don't worry about it. He's like, your personality will shine through. And is that something you would,
so true.
Is that something you would suggest to people? Because now, I mean, basically everybody became like an overnight video sensation, right? We all like had to get on Zoom calls, and everybody's doing like Instagram Live and Facebook Live and Twitter Live. And so we're all of a sudden like these personalities, and it's a pretty mixed bag. But would you say that's a good piece of advice for people that are starting to create, especially in video format? Just go and like work with. Go for it. Give us a couple nuggets. Give us a couple little bits.
I feel like you can learn a lot based on, like, if you pay attention to the people you watch. It's like, like some of the people I watch, I'm like, well, why do I like their content? Do they have perfect lighting? Is it the camera? It's never that, it's just, I like how raw they are. I like that they're just showing everything. So even with like Gary Vee, right? Huge fan, and just watching Tea with Gary Vee, there's, I don't know, just when they were first starting it, sometimes there'd be little tech issues. It's like, no one cares. I mean, it's
people were just like,
oh yeah, who cares?
and actually I've been so busy lately, which is ironic because most people are not. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm at home, I'm bored. And I'm like, I'm working 70-hour weeks still. And out, not at the house. I'm in our wine store during the day. I'm at a restaurant at night and other things in between. And I haven't had a lot of time to keep up on like watching. I haven't seen one Tea with Gary Vee. The only one I saw, like the little clip that Damon posted that he was on, and I was like, that's my boy. So I was like his cheerleader for that. But that's literally the only clip I saw. But on one of the weekly V's, I'm way behind. But it was the one since they started doing Tea with Gary Vee, and they were talking about the technical issues, and they brought that up as a point. It was just like it doesn't matter. Like Gary said something like, most of us are not George Lucas. We're not making Star Wars. We're not like you don't need all that. It's more about, what you're actually sharing and inspiring people and getting people kind of pumped up. And like, he's like, this is a hot mess. Like the audio is going in and out and everything's like, they're used to like a high level of production and it's not happening right now. He's like, it doesn't matter. Don't give a
fuck.
fuck.
It's like everyone's favorite show. I mean, it's
exactly. The viewership is like tremendous. Crazy. He's got everybody on edge, and they're just like, the one day that he canceled, people were like, "Oh, what are we doing?" Like, people were like crying in the street. And you've also got on, like, talk about some of your side projects. What is Maze Media?
That's my digital media company that I'm building.
And the veil has been lifted.
Right. Yeah. I have like so much going on. And sometimes I try hard not to judge myself because I'm like, man, I'm just like not spending enough time doing this. And then I don't know. I was listening to one of Gary's podcasts the other day where he was like talking about stop being like so hard on yourself. You can only do so much. But yeah, that's one of my side hustles. I guess there's not that many, but super passionate about that. My job right now, though, is my priority. Like I said in that tweet that you mentioned, just because it's teaching me so much about business. I love the way they run their company. It's phenomenal. Learning a lot. So I'm just trying to absorb all that knowledge and work really hard there, and then eventually get to that. I think people are like impatient or rushed, and like I'm saying people, but that I'm like that too. But this is one of the first times in my life where it's like it's okay, like just take your time with that, and like
Well, we're kind of being forced to do that right now, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which I think is great. I mean, I agree that a lot of people are super impatient, and people, especially in business, they're like, I want the money and I want the money now. And like for small business, it doesn't really work that way. You get the money like way, way, way later. And it requires just like the utmost patience. And when you're, for myself, mine is actually in a physical, community and space where there's a lot of accountability. But I think the same is true of the digital space, and that people need to kind of start to treat it that way. And I understand there's a lot of young people that are kind of the foundation of that industry right now that maybe haven't been entrenched in like a physical community to experience that. But boy, I think that would go a long, long way if people were just more patient and treated it like a brick and mortar business. The level of engagement would probably go way, way up.
I feel like that stems from like motivation too. I feel like if people are like super focused on just monetizing it and making money, it'll just lead to disappointment, like I never ever think of that. Everything I do is like based on passion, or I don't know, I'm just not capable of doing something that I'm not excited about. So like money, maybe, I don't know if that's a bad thing. It is like the last thing I think about, I don't know. No,
I mean, it's the same for me too. I get criticized for it sometimes, but right now people are like, oh no, that was a good move. Good move. Because right now nobody's making much. We're not making much money, but
exactly. Right. So just focus on building the brand and the audience. And then,
very cool. All right. Well, we're going to take a little break. We'll be back in about 1 minute. All right. Just hang tight and we'll do another segment. Okay. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network. Do you run or are ready to open your own business? Hi, I'm Jeremiah Fox. I've been operating and opening small business for the last 25 years, and I'm the host of the new show, The Entrepreneurial Web. Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern Time for insights and stories on the nuances of running small business right here on Fridays at noon, talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Talking alternative radio, 24 hours a day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Once again, you're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox, here with my guest, Olivia Rachel. She's zooming in live from Los Angeles, and it's actually, it's like 9:15 in the morning for you there?
Yes. Yep.
Woo! Right at
it. Nice and early.
And you have to hop right into your workday.
Yeah, that's right.
After this. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us just briefly a little bit about what your workday looks like right now? Because you just moved here, you started your job, and then all of a sudden it was like, we're going to switch gears, and you're like working from home right now, right? How does that work in the context of like television and video production?
Yeah, it's different. There's a lot. Honestly, I thought there'd be more freedom, but I find myself working a lot,
They're watching you.
Right? They're always like, why are you working at 11? Like, you shouldn't be, but I still like it though, just because it's more, I don't know. I realized this about myself. I'm very like sensitive to environments. I like kind of controlling my own environment. So it's cool that I can just work from the comfort of my own home, or like if I wanted to travel, if I could at this time, it'd be cool to be able to work and, do that. Remotely, I like flexibility and freedom. Yeah, that's like something I really value. So with film, I felt you're just like trapped in a studio, or like overnight shoot.
And that was one of the things I was trying to pull out of you with the digital side versus, because it's much more, the schedule is much more liberal, right? And you can do things on the fly. A lot of it is like street scenes, and it's just like your world and what's happening, right? Versus this very curated kind of scenario where when you're on film and television, when you're working digital, it's just like, there are no rules. We do what we want.
Right. And then if you have other things going on, like other side hustles, you can, it's just way easier to manage and balance everything. Whereas with film, you're working 12, 14, 16-hour days on set. So when you go home or on weekends, they call them fratter days in the industry, because your Friday turns into a Saturday.
Yeah.
So I like this just because it gives me more of
it sounds like the restaurant industry.
Yep. Similar.
I've been working 8-day weeks for like 10 years.
Wow. But that's so cool that you can just shoot something like this, wherever as well. And it gives you that flexibility too. So.
Well, the crazy part, again, I just got catapulted into this. I was not involved in anything digital, anything in terms of film. I mean, I was a music guy, but we were analog. I mean, I first learned to record on literally like reel to reel. And then I got into the food industry. So this is all like kind of brand new for me, and the timing couldn't have been better. I mean, literally when this all went down, I was maybe 6 months into playing with this and just being like, I don't know, let's see what happens. And it was like, snap. Oh, now it's a necessary, So that's a great segue, because I wanted you to talk about that in the context of what's happening in your world, but also in terms of, social media and digital marketing, which seems to be something that you kind of have on the back burner. It's certainly something I'm very interested in as well. So the shutdown of everything, what were the biggest changes that it did to your job? Like your 9 to 5, your 9 to 11.
What were the biggest changes?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think I have more time now, because like I'm not working in an office, so it actually affected me in a positive way.
Good.
I know, like there's so much, it's obviously a sad situation that's going on, but personally, it's just given me more time, because now I don't have commute, I don't have commute time. I don't, when I take like breaks and stuff like that, I can just work on my own thing. So I'm kind of taking advantage of that.
Do a radio show, just like do a pop-up radio.
Literally. I have like my work computer right next to me. It's funny. Just keep it.
Great. That's awesome. And then in terms of your forecast for being able to execute on something like a digital media company going forward, what do you see? I mean, you seem to be a good finder. You know, you just based off of what I've read, you know, through your bio and some of your posts, like you've traveled a lot, you've been around. You have a lot of confidence. It came up the other day. You're not afraid. I love it. You were just like, why are people so fucking scared of this shit? And like, I encounter that all the time because I'm just like, I'm the type of person, someone's like, hey, you want to try this business? I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's go, you know, and like, just throw money at it and not worry about it. People are like,
that's amazing.
Like, whatever. You know, but it's the same thing. It's just like hopping in your car and driving across country by yourself and just be like, I'm going to move to LA and just figure this out. It was the same when I moved to New York, you know, whatever, 20 years ago. It was just like, I'm going to go. And people were like, you're nuts. And I was like, yeah, bye-bye. Not everybody's built that way. So you seem to be somebody, one, that's just confident, but you're also, you're looking for the good. You're looking for opportunity. It doesn't seem like it's somebody else's detriment. Obviously this is a terrible situation and a lot of people will suffer. I think two things about this situation. One, that a lot of shitty businesses are going to go away. Like basically if you were just like a bad person, bye-bye.
Yes.
Don't want to see it anymore. And you're not going to service back because it was too much work to be just a bad person. You probably weren't providing a good service. The unfortunate part is too, that it's going to take some good businesses. And obviously we've lost lives of good people as well. But there is some sort of opportunity there. And you seem to be somebody that's like, I'm going to find that. I'm going to just like, not to exploit, but just like, what else are we going to do? Sit here and scratch our heads? So what do you see? What do you see as some potential opportunities on the digital marketing front? You know, in particular, you know, using video to communicate in the near future. What are some opportunities you're hoping to come up, especially for your own endeavor?
I think this is helping people become more raw and open online. So I think that could lead to a lot of things, you know, because I don't know. I just feel like the way things are going, people are becoming more vulnerable online and raw and real. So I think it can help build an audience and a brand just because you can actually connect and relate to people. So I think I would say that's like the number one thing.
Is that kind of the premise of what you hope to build your media company around is helping people communicate their message in that really raw, kind of vulnerable format?
No, actually.
No?
Yeah.
So, do tell.
Yeah.
Do tell. I'm curious. Because again, this is something I'm interested in, and I'm trying to figure out like what other people, what to do, what not to do, so on and so forth.
Right. Yeah.
What's kind of your angle in terms of your digital media aspirations?
Right. I'm like a very aesthetic person, which I hate because then that like causes you to be a perfectionist at the same time. But I'm like, that's okay. Like that's who you are. So, okay, cool. You like simplicity and you kind of like, you know, I don't know. I am actually going into luxury branding. So
okay.
I like, so different than that. So that's kind of where, that's one of my passions too. I just like, I like that world in terms, like from a marketing perspective.
No, that's great. I mean, you have to have something. So that makes this question even more interesting because a lot of those brands they've got a big bar like, am I going to have a job? Am I going to have money? Can I pay my mortgage? Can I pay my rent? So how does a luxury brand fit into the current landscape? And what does marketing, like what are some of the brands that you would, if you had your choice right now to like market a brand, who like name a couple that you would be like, this is who I wanted.
Like a dream brand. Ooh. Yeah. Well, I've worked with, I've done luxury marketing before, and I've worked with small up and coming little brands that like, you know, Jord watches and T-Mine, stuff like that are going that road. I mean, there's dream brands like anything under the LVMH umbrella, right? Like Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy.
Right.
There's a ton over there, but I think for me that I'm not really looking to go in that direction right away. But I like finding small up and coming startups and stuff like that, and just marketing.
So that's where you would make your focus initially, would be like I don't know what it's like in LA, but around here, they're just like everybody makes everything, and a lot of them do it on the luxury side. There's just like so many little, like, there's a lot of manufacturing that's happening here, a lot of abandoned industrial spaces that became something else, and now they're going back to industrial, but in this kind of luxury brand sense. So you would seek out some brands like that you found some kind of alignment with, and you would want to work on their digital promotions.
I think I like how you mentioned the whole story thing. I think that there's a way that I can, find a company like that and find something that aligns with my own personal values and kind of use that to market. So that's an interesting, that would be an interesting thing to do.
Right. I mean, sure. I think it's important, especially if you're, is the premise of the media company specifically digital marketing, like through social media?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it seems appropriate, like, especially now there's undivided attention in terms of people want to be entertained. People are spending a lot more time consuming, especially content. It seems like there's a captive audience and being able to tell a little bit of a story, especially with your television and film background. I mean, I think there has to be some, right? It's like if you want to play in a band and you have absolutely no experience and you come out, people are going to be like, I don't know, you're cool, but that's not okay, So having that bit of experience and the ability to curate to an extent seems like it would benefit you greatly in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Well, you might end up having to make a few trips out here then once you get this company off the ground. And you have, we've just got a couple more minutes in this segment. Do you have a timeline on your company, or are you just kind of riding the bull right now and seeing where it goes?
Yeah, I kind of have I have my business plan, right, with just the order of things I want to do, also like trademarking and then building a site and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I'm starting. And then I got really clear on my vision and my own target audience for what companies I want to work for. A timeline, I'm hoping this year for sure. I wasn't expecting it to happen so quickly, and then.
Sorry, I lost you for a second there again. You still there?
It looks like we've...
You there?
I'm here.
Oh, cool. All right. Well,
I'm sorry. I don't know if it cut me off.
It's probably recording. It's probably just in the transfer. That's part of the current technical situation. Gary would be like, "Fuck it, man, just keep going."
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to wrap up this segment. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you for sharing and giving me giving everybody all that insight. I wish you the best of luck. Stay safe, stay healthy for sure. And I look forward to staying in contact in the future and maybe doing this again sometime once things kind of settle down.
Cool. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. All right, everybody. When we come back, we're going to be hearing from Zane Campbell. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. We'll be back in just a few.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network at www.talkingalternative.com. Now, broadcasting 24 hours a day. Talking Alternative.
Do you run or are ready to open your own business? Hi, I'm Jeremiah Fox. I've been operating and opening small business for the last 25 years, and I'm the host of the new show, The Entrepreneurial Web. Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern Time for insights and stories on the nuances of running small business right here on Fridays at noon, talkradio.nyc. Do you love or are you intrigued about New York City and its neighborhoods?
I'm Jeff Goodman, host of Rediscovering New York, a weekly show that showcases New York's history and its extraordinary neighborhoods. Every Tuesday live at 7 p.m., we focus on a particular neighborhood and explore its history, its vibe, its feel, and its energy. Tune in live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on talkradio.nyc.
I'm the aptly named host of Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio. Big nonprofit ideas for the other 95%. Fundraising, board relations, social media. My guests and I cover everything that small and mid-sized shops struggle with. If you have big dreams and a small budget, you have a home at Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio. Fridays 1 to 2 Eastern at talkingalternative.com.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Everybody, welcome back. Once again, you're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox, coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. And now we switch gears, which is kind of appropriate because my next guest is actually a race car driver. So we're bringing in live from Columbus, Ohio, Zane Campbell. Zane, how you doing?
I am doing good, man. How about yourself?
Really great, man. Really great. I got to say, the weather's nice. Things seem to be getting a little bit better here in New York City. How are things in Columbus? What's the scene on the street like?
Well, it's not too bad. Currently, it's about 40 degrees and really, really overcast. The last couple of days with weather have been awful. It snowed 2 days ago, and the week before that, it was 82 degrees and sun. So, that's terrible. Other than that, as far as COVID and everything goes,
yeah.
Honestly, it's less populated, but for some reason there still seems to be kind of a lot of people out. I'm out door dashing almost every day, and I still see a ton of people out in the roads. So it's kind of weird in that sense. I don't really see, honestly, like a ton of change. But yeah, that's kind of how things are going over here with that. I think May 1st, they talked about reopening some of the businesses here in Columbus. So it looks like that's kind of our time schedule. So I guess things must be getting a little bit better.
And what has happened kind of to the business community? Like, can you go to like a movie? Can you go to like a restaurant, or is it's all shut down?
Every single thing is shut down. The only thing that's not shut down permanently is just takeout orders, grocery stores and takeout. That's it. Everything else is completely shut down. There are some restaurants though that are just completely closed just because they're not doing the profits. Of course, I know a weird thing. Like my girl and I would go to Starbucks almost daily, and there's probably 20 Starbucks around here, and there's like 2 open, and they both, one closes at like 2, and the other one's closes at like 4. So that's like Starbucks. Seeing that effect is like really crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
And then of course,
right.
You go and you can't go inside, so it's only drive-through. So you're sitting there for 35 minutes just trying to get your mocha frappuccino, along with everybody else trying to get there.
Yeah, y'all got to learn to make coffee at home, man. That's too long. No way. Can't do it.
Yeah. Every morning I'll make coffee on my own, but when I go out and when I go out to like DoorDash and I just want some coffee, I'll typically make it at home, but then I go through it. And then by that point, I'm just like, all right, time to stop. And my girl gets coffee every single day, because if not, she gets a headache, and she can only have Starbucks because that's like all she likes. So Starbucks is kind of where we end up.
All right. You're a slave to Starbucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was there was something else I was going to ask. Oh, what's the situation with the only reason I asked this particularly of you, because I remember you posted something about driving to like Kentucky to get some bourbon or something like that.
Yeah.
What are alcohol sales like in Ohio? In terms of the state? Is it state stores? Is it private stores?
They have their state stores. Like the only thing that's open really at all in the sense of getting alcohol is you have gas stations, of course, and like Giant Eagle. Other than that, everything's shut down. All the distilleries, everything like that. That was the first time I actually went to Kentucky for bourbon. I just went to go with some friends.
Yeah.
But luckily they have this huge stash, so they're all good. I've got one bottle, but that's good for me for now. I mean,
I'm just
say that.
Well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I've been drinking a little bit more Coors Light than usual, so that's where I'm at.
Are the state stores closed though? Can you buy?
Yes.
They are completely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I only ask because I also have a wine and spirit store here in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
It's small. It's, like the shopping floor is about 500 square feet. It's tiny. But we have a lot of product in there, but that was one of the big questions in New York was like, are they going to make liquor stores close?
Right.
People were like, I think the state was like, they could stay open because they didn't want to riot.
Absolutely, for sure. And I know that's happened like in Pennsylvania where, that's their only location.
Yeah.
And a lot of those stores closed and then people got mad. And I think they reopened them there because of that.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I believe that's what happened.
Here, everything is private. It's not state-controlled stores. It's all just like independent, just mom and pop shops for the most part. And we were able to stay open, which was fantastic because it was, that was our most consistent stream of income all along. Like I've got a restaurant too, which I'm sitting in right now, but restaurants are not consistent streams of income under any circumstance.
Right. Absolutely.
But the wine store has been, and a lot of places just decided to close. They were just out of fear or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not sure. There's so many small operations here where it's like 2 and 3 person teams. That's like not uncommon in New York City. That if like one or two of them get sick, that's it. You can't operate. There's not like, you don't get to train other people. You have no other support staff. So I'm curious about, because so many places have closed here in addition to restaurants as well. Just some restaurants are just like, nope. Like they tried to do takeout for like 2 or 3 days and they're like, nah, I'm out of here, man. I'm not doing it at all.
I've seen a few places do that for sure. Especially like the local Tim Hortons here has done that even.
Timmy Hose. So I went to school in Buffalo. I'm very familiar with your weather, which is why I left, and Tim Hortons, which is another reason why I left. Oh no, I've been making my own. I owned a coffee shop for a while too. I've been making my own coffee at home for over 20 years. I'm a freak about it. Like I'm the opposite. I'm like nobody else can make my coffee, only me.
I definitely do both. I buy I'll buy beans and I'll grind them up here, but cool. I just put everything through the Keurig. I mean, that's me.
No, man, I got like a $4,000 espresso set up at home.
Holy crap. Wow.
Well, when I closed my shop, I had this, and it was literally, the shop was in my backyard. Like I walked out of my apartment and the store was next door. So every morning I just got up and walked and made coffee on a, $10,000 machine. And I got spoiled, and I was like, so when I sold the coffee shop in 2017 and I was like, yeah, but I still need that great coffee. So I just bought a really dope home unit and
that's the way to go.
But I need it, man, for everything I do. I can't be like drinking like slouch coffee. It's got to be the real stuff.
Yeah, I feel you. Absolutely. No, I totally get that. It's like for me in the morning when I get up and I start my work, the first thing I do is coffee, whether, it's always made from home early in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning. It's always made from home.
You were up early today. Woo.
Yeah. I've been trying to get back on a routine because with quarantine and everything, I've been kind of sleeping in later and I haven't been as productive. Like the best time for me to get work done is from like 5 a.m. to like 8 a.m. And that's typically where I'm most productive. So I've been doing that recently, getting back into that. So yeah, it's been enjoyable.
Good for you. Did you happen to catch the message of the week at the beginning of the show? Were you listening?
I did not. No, I did not. I was actually a giant eagle.
No problem. I want to share it again because it's from the first guest, who also is a connection I made through Twitter, and this is from one of her tweets earlier in the week. But you just said something that really, both of you kind of stood out to me in this regard. So I'm just going to read it one more time for you and anybody else that wasn't listening. So what she said was, my priority right now is my job because it's funding my life and my dreams. It's also teaching me how to run a successful international business digitally. All my spare time and weekends are devoted to content creation and side hustles. And it seems to me like you're kind of following the same path. You've not given up. You're like, I'm going to maintain my routine. I'm going to go get it. I will sacrifice what I need to. And like, we're hiring a lot of DoorDash guys right now between the restaurant and the wine store, because everything is gone. The restaurant's 100% delivery and takeout. The wine store is probably like 50-50 now. The storefront is still open, so you can still walk inside. We only allow 3 people in at a time. But the delivery, we did it already. We were already on some apps and we did our own like internal. We had one driver on, that was just on our payroll that we would send out for all of our stuff. We have 3 drivers a night sometimes now. And then during the day, we just summon DoorDash guys, and they come and like, bro, they're making some bread. Like
it's really, really good right now.
Great.
This is the first time in about 2.5 years. Like I've always had more than one stream of income for the last 100 years since I've started both my businesses. Between my racing business and my video production business, those have been like 2 incomes. And then DoorDash was always kind of like just a side, like extra money. But right now, with everything being shut down and closed, both of my businesses are on hold. So that just leaves DoorDash. But I mean, last night, perfect example, I went at 2 hours and made $65 in 2 hours last night. I mean, you're easily pulling 120, 130 a day for a good 6-7 hour day. And it's so easy, and especially now with, the way everything's practically delivery. So it's really effective right now.
Yeah. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your 2 businesses. We're going to take a break in maybe like 5 minutes. So in that time period, give us a little breakdown of your background and what your businesses are and what you've been doing for the last few years.
Yeah, sure. So make a long story short, I ended up, after a few jobs bouncing around, I kind of got like what I thought would be like a career job type deal. I ended up running 2 or 3 Domino's stores around Central Ohio. Did that for 2.5 years. I did enjoy it, and that's what kind of got my feet wet on business. But I was just kind of miserable when it came to hours. At the time, I was like 21. I was working 90 plus hours a week. Yeah. And, as a 21-year-old, what good's money if you can't even, do anything with it? So
to invest that shit.
Well, absolutely. You're not wrong about that. And of course, I do that now.
But I was the same though. At your age, I was doing the same thing, and I blew it all. Just totally blew it all.
At that time, it was like there's nothing for me really to do. It's just like wake up, go to work. I mean, I was getting in at 4 a.m. and not leaving till 3 a.m. the following day. I would sleep in my office. I'd sleep in the walk-in cooler. So that's kind of it. I started to get into Gary Vee. I decided, you know what, heck with this. I got really upset one day with like the way that I was a situation was handled, and I just said, hell with it. Put in 2 weeks. I said, I'm leaving. Ended up starting immediately right off the bat was my racing business. Bought a car, put a whole bunch of money into it, turned it into like a race car. Got my racing license, bought a truck, trailer, started racing all across the country. It was phenomenal. It was incredible. And it was very, 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 very expensive. So near the end of that, the race season 2 years ago, I was like, okay, I have got to find another income here because I'm like just draining all of my money. I mean, it was you do one race, you're spending $3,000 on repairs and then track costs and insurance and diesel fuel and all that. So that's when
you should open a restaurant.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You got all the qualities, man. You're a sucker for punishment. You like food. You know how to drive. That's it, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then following that, that's when I started video. And at the time, I really didn't know too much about it, but I decided like the last couple months of racing, I knew that I needed something else. I wanted to do video. So I spent all my free time when I wasn't on the track or wasn't traveling on YouTube, learning how to edit videos and make videos. So like when I was at a hotel, I was doing video work. When I was sitting in my truck, sleeping in my truck, I was doing video work. Whenever I wasn't doing cars, I was doing that. Learned a whole bunch, started to make some videos, got pretty good really quick. Well, not really quick, but quite quickly for what, you expect.
Right.
Putting in long hours, of course. And then, I started the video business. I started to get clients, and then videos turned into clients with marketing, digital marketing, graphic design, website building, all sorts of stuff like that. And then, of course, with racing, paired those together with my personal brand, like YouTube, blog, podcast, stuff like that. And that's kind of where I'm at today.
That's really awesome, man. Fantastic. Well, thank you for that. We are going to take a quick break, and I want to pick back up on what you were just talking about with your spare time and learning this process and just going with the video. All right. We'll be back in just a few, everybody. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
I'm the aptly named host of Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio, big nonprofit ideas for the other 95%. Fundraising, board relations, social media, My guests and I cover everything that small and mid-sized shops struggle with. If you have big dreams and a small budget, you have a home at Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio. Fridays 1 to 2 Eastern at talkingalternative.com.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
talkingalternative.com.
All right, everybody. Welcome back once again. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox, here with my guest, Zane Campbell, zooming in from Columbus, Ohio. It's a verb
like
now.
That.
We're
yeah, that's a good one.
zooming in. He got here quick, too, because he's a race car driver. So just to catch everybody back up, you started a race car driving business. You were a race car driver. You ever have any bad accidents?
Yeah, a few. Luckily, I haven't had too many I've only had 2 with my actual personal car. And luckily they weren't really bad in the sense of, I got hit, nudged a little bit, did a little bit of damage, but nothing.
A little bump and grind. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
I do jujitsu. I know a little about that.
Oh, okay.
Not in a car though.
Right. That'd be kind of hard.
That'd be crazy. Yeah. Wow. So, all right. Well, glad that you're safe from all that.
Yeah.
Now there's bigger challenges. So
I scare my mom to death every time.
Yeah, I bet. So you started a racing business, and in your free time, YouTube University figured out how to do some video production. And that turned into marketing opportunities. Give us a little bit, tell us like how that process started for you, from the point of view, like figuring out, okay, I can make some video. Did you go out and seek clients, or were people like, wow, this is really good. You did a good job of that. Can you do something like that for me? What was the scenario like?
Yeah, so basically the whole thing that started everything, I kind of forgot to mention in the last segment, was happiness over money. Yep. That's my whole thing. Like, I'd rather go all in on my passions and be happy as hell than make $100 million a year and be miserable. So this I knew was something that I wanted to do. So upon doing this video work, I had no idea how it was going to go. But one thing that I've always remained true to is the process, the process of putting in the work and trusting the results. And that's why I have this tattoo here, trust the process.
Nice.
Because that's my daily reminder to myself. So pretty much once I started to get good at it, I just started to literally make YouTube content with everything I did. Racing, of course, I was traveling a ton. So I had so much content that I didn't really know where to begin, other than I just picked up my camera. I started with some GoPros and my phone, which is today still what I use.
Yeah.
And I just started filming stuff, and I just got better at it and kind of got more understanding for it. And from there, I really started to use social media to kind of push that. So I'd run some Facebook ads, Instagram ads. I'd get on Twitter and search hashtags of those people who are looking for video production. Also, another thing I did was I created like a little portfolio. There was one online. There was also one on paper. And I would search some businesses around the area, and I'd literally just walk into businesses and try to find clients, tell them what I would do, and kind of go off of that. I do a lot of research beforehand, especially looking at restaurants. Restaurants were something I did a lot of with real estate. Real estate was obviously big as well, and car dealerships. And I would just go to their social media, and without being rude, I'd be like, listen, video is a huge part of product or marketing here in 2019 at the time, 2019, 2020. And it's like, you have no video at all. We can take something like, this, and I give them an example and turn it into something like this. And I would do some like small work, like 2 to 3 minute work just to throw together to show them something to get an idea. And they would love it. And then from there, it transitioned into starting to get clients, and then clients, turned into repeat clients, and kind of building from there. Currently, I've got just a couple, but they're all currently shut down. Obviously, I do work with a racing business currently, which is cool. But I really enjoy working with real estate. Real estate is something that I've always enjoyed. And as I get older and I get more money, I want to invest in real estate. Yeah. So that's something that I was really passionate about, was working with real estate people, and I had an opportunity last year to be able to go to Beverly Hills and shoot a $50 million mansion, which was featured on $1 Million Listing.
Whoa.
And that was an insane event. They had a massive party, celebrities, movie stars, everybody. I mean, it's across the street from P. Diddy's house. You had Justin Bieber down the street. You had the Playboy Mansion across the street there. So it was a crazy event, and I was able to shoot that. I spent about 7 days out there shooting this whole thing and put it together. And that was kind of like the highlight moment for me. And I knew like I really wanted to continue doing work like this. So I was able to use that video and leverage it for a lot of future work that here we are today with.
Great. So tell us about today. What happened in the last 4 weeks? Where'd everybody go?
Yeah. So pretty much everyone that I was working with just is shut down. I'm working with racing company, which they build cars and they race cars. We were supposed to travel and go to a track event and do some video editing or video production on that. That got canceled. I'm working with an Olympic gymnast coach who was the coach of Gabby Douglas. Also a little bit with Corey G Fitness. I don't know if you know Corey G. He's like first name basis with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay. They're like really, really close. But literally since everything's been shut down, they're unable to do anything. And with the whole social distancing, it's best just take a back seat to everything, wait till it finishes up. But actually, this reminds me, I'm really excited for an opportunity that I just got. I got an email about 3 weeks ago from another guy named Zane, which is weird, out in Santa Monica. And he works with casting agents and stuff like that. And they wanted to feature me in a documentary coming up, which of course everything was set up good to go. And then COVID happened. So like they're delaying it. So once COVID's over, I'll be traveling back out to Santa Monica to shoot a documentary, which I'm pretty excited to do as well. And I'll be definitely making a video on that and putting something like that.
Yeah,
as well.
That's great. So I was going to actually mention that, like, now it seems like a good time to self-promote, like really go hard on personal brand. Absolutely. Because you want to keep your skills sharp, and just create awareness. Like at the restaurant, sales are so down. It's just like we're dangling by a thread every day, but it doesn't matter. I'm just taking every opportunity and literally walking around with my phone. The great thing that happened just this past week is that it turns out that a lot of the hospital cafeterias are closed. So there's like these hospital workers are working double time. They're pulling people from all over the country and they can't feed them. There's nowhere to get food. I mean, it's Brooklyn, so you can go outside, but they're just working so much they don't even get breaks. So somebody started to GoFundMe to collect donations, and they started to take those donations and patronize the restaurants that were still open to deliver meals to the hospitals.
That's
and
cool.
Mushroomed. It like completely mushroomed like in a few days. So some opportunities like that have come up in my restaurant. We delivered just Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We delivered 325 lunches to hospitals right here.
Awesome. Congratulations.
And we get paid for it. It's not like what we're used to, but it doesn't matter. It's money. And we were like, yes. And it felt good too. But I just documented the whole thing. Like I made TikToks and I did like all kinds of, just on my phone, and I felt like, we can't do what we normally did, in terms of our promotions. And I pretty much have overseen all of that thus far. It's just been me kind of doing the social media for all the businesses. And same with me. I had just like 9 months ago, I didn't know anything about how to make a video. I had like an iPhone 7, just like cracked, and like, and I have a few friends.
Use what you have.
Yeah, but this was like really bad. But I have a few friends that are in video production here in New York, and they were like, listen, just you invest a little bit. It'll make a big difference in what you're doing. And I did. And I was like, okay. And then like weeks later, I was invited to host a show, the one that we're doing right now. And then it was just like being put in a catapult and just like, whoo, and then all of a sudden I'm like editing video and like advising on editing video. I was even asked to be second camera on a commercial for it was a real estate thing. And I was just like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. And they're like, no, you're doing fine. Just, I was like, oh, shit. So it's something I'm super interested in funny. As well. You know, something that the lady that was on at the first portion, she's like actually starting a digital media company. It's something I've thought about recently, like, this might be a good move. And you know, now just offering some advice to other people, because it seems like everybody's an overnight video sensation right now, right? Like everybody's stuck at home and they're just like, well, we got to do this. So before we wrap up, can you give maybe a couple tips that you picked up, especially coming, like she actually studied film, but you're more like me and just like kind of figured it out on your own. Just a couple tips that really helped you in your content production that you found valuable over the last year or so.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think ultimately, as cliche as it is, I think the most important thing is you just got to do it. Practice. And
Absolutely.
especially when it comes to being on camera, you know, a lot of people are camera shy. A lot of people hate to talk to the camera. Luckily, that's something that I've always been good at. I mean, I don't really even think about it. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how really you can get better at it other than just keep practicing. And, you know, shoot anything. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have, you know, a specific shoot to, you know, you don't have to have this Hollywood shoot to go out and do. Yeah. Just, you know, walk outside. Like the other day, I was so bored. I literally made a video of me walking to the mailbox because I can. Yeah. And just, you know, shoot. And people, one of the things that I found is people will love you for you. You know, be authentic, be truthful, be exactly who you want to be, and people will, you know, come to you because they like you as a person, not because you're trying to act like somebody else. So I think at the end of the day, as long as you are being true to yourself, being authentic, opening up about what's going on in your life, but yet putting in the work and the time to be able to shoot whatever it is and just keep editing and editing and editing and editing. And there's a lot of times when I would shoot, you know, 5-6 hours of video and I'd make like 5 separate videos, all with the same footage, just so I could learn different editing processes. So I think, you know, at the end of the day, that's kind of what it comes down to.
Awesome. That's fantastic, man. I couldn't have asked for more. You really did a great job. Bang that one out. So where can people find out, you know, get information on you or contact you? We got to wrap it up here. If they're interested in learning more about the process or actually hiring you for some video production.
Yeah, sure. So my email is pretty simple. It's zcompanymedia@gmail.com. I can be reached there for anything, video work, anything of the such. And the social media, Instagram, Twitter is Zane, Zane, C Campbell, like Campbell Soup. And that's the same thing pretty much across all of my social platforms. If you go to Instagram or Twitter, I do have a link tree. If you click on that link tree, it links you to my website, to my podcast, my blog. Every possible thing you could have is on there, LinkedIn, everything like that.
Great. So were you the Campbell Soup kid? You kind of look familiar.
No,
I'm kidding. That's how he got his start. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. Really, it's been a pleasure having you. I'm glad we finally got to connect, and we'll definitely do this again, man. Really
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
You got it, man. Stay safe out there. Be well. Okay, everybody. Likewise, stay safe. Wash your hands 6 feet apart. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. Have a great weekend.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Do you run or are ready to open your own business? Hi, I'm Jeremiah Fox. I've been operating and opening small business for the last 25 years, and I'm the host of the new show, The Entrepreneurial Web. Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern Time for insights and stories on the nuances of running small business right here on Fridays at noon, talkradio.nyc.
I'm the aptly named host of Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio. Big nonprofit ideas for the other 95%. Fundraising, board relations, social media. My guests and I cover everything that small and mid-sized shops struggle with. If you have big dreams and a small budget, you have a home at Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio. Fridays 1 to 2 Eastern at talkingalternative.com.
Hey, all you crazy listeners. Looking to boost your business? Why not advertise on Talking Alternative with very reasonable rates? Interested? Simply email at info@talkingalternative.com.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network at www.talkingalternative.com. Now, broadcasting 24 hours a day. Talking Alternative.
Do you love or are you intrigued about New York City and its neighborhoods? I'm Jeff Goodman, host of Rediscovering New York, a weekly show that showcases New York's history and its extraordinary neighborhoods. Every Tuesday live at 7 p.m., we focus on a particular neighborhood and explore its history, its vibe, its feel, and its energy. Tune in live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.